It's recording.
All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order, and guess we're gonna do a roll call now. And I guess how I'm supposed to be saying everyone's name off? Is that how it is?
You could just ask for them. You could go from right to left, however you choose to do it, or you could call their name and ask them to say present. Yeah, you could do that as well.
Okay, if everyone wouldn't mind acknowledging that they're here for the record.
Lydia Karen Robinson, present.
Good evening, Leonie Logan, committee member present.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, Monica McCain Brown, committee member.
Thank you. It seems like that's
Team
everybody.
Lyons, community assistant.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Okay, thank you very much. I'm supposed to go over the approval of the minutes or something to that effect. Was that right?
Did Ms. Frazier send them to you? Because I didn't cover this meeting before. I'm just getting sanitation back, so she didn't send me anything.
Yeah, I don't believe that I received that.
Okay, because that was one of the other coworkers that was, I think it was Miss Gordon, and she's no longer with us, so she probably doesn't know where they are. But I'll see what I can find out for you when I go in tomorrow, and if they're done, I'll send them to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. With that said, I believe I'm supposed to provide a report, and we just got back from the summer break, and I have been informed that this meeting is supposed to be held to provide any types of complaints or issues since the last meeting. Is that accurate? Anyone know?
Yeah, so the sanitation committee deals with sanitation issues.
Right.
So normally, as the chair, you would give a report, but since this is your first meeting, you could disregard the chairperson's report and just ask if anyone has any complaints, issues, or anything that they're dealing with. You take notes, I take notes, and then we submit the complaints.
Okay, great. Thank you. So with that said, does anyone have anything to report that they are familiar with?
Mr. Hill, this is Leonie Logan. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I hope we'll have a productive year with sanitation. I have one issue that happened over the summertime, and I reported it to the board office. It's a little, well, I won't say that it's, a simple trite one, but now that we have sanitation asking to have, whatever with the new ruling in putting out your garbage.
Yeah.
I purchased a 45-gallon covered garbage can with the attached lid in April. I put that garbage can out 2 times. On the second time, sanitation promptly ripped the lid off completely. And so I'm left with a garbage can that has no lid because it was ripped off by sanitation. And I'd like to have sanitation report it, replace it. So I'd like to have a message sent to Ms. Cunningham if she's still the liaison for our area for sanitation. And I'd like to have sanitation replace the garbage can.
Okay. All
I can
right.
answer that, Mr. Hill. I submitted the complaint to sanitation. I'm waiting for a response. They are aware of the can. I sent everything that Ms. Leone sent to me, and it has been submitted. I spoke to Ms. Cunningham as well, so she's trying to find out she's trying to correct the situation.
Thank
So
you.
this was, thank you. So this was since April of this year, and they haven't been able
No,
to
it was
provide.
July. It happened July 21st. July 21st, the early morning, because they come down our street like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, this happened on the July 21st pickup. I purchased the can back in April, but I never put it out and used it until towards the end of June. And the second time that I put the can out, that's what happened. The cover was completely ripped off. You didn't even see the cover. My neighbor, who is an early riser, he normally takes up the cans from both houses, his and mine. And yeah, the lid was completely gone, ripped off.
Okay, so we're looking at an event that took place
July 21st.
3 months ago,
Yes,
and we still haven't gotten a response to it yet.
correct.
Is that a common thing to happen for something to take 3 months and still not having a resolution?
Yes.
Is
The
there
city
any,
agencies move a lot slower than the complaints they receive. To me, anyway.
do we have any ideas to why it takes this long?
Say something, Monica McCain Brown, as Ms. Lyons just said, you're dealing with city agencies, you're dealing with bureaucracies, and that's just what they do. If some of our officials can make it happen a little faster, that would be great. But that's what happens when you're dealing with a bureaucracy.
And the whichever community that they're dealing with.
And for one, the city agencies do a lot of outside contracting. In this case, sanitation employees are city workers. I don't know. In my opinion, I think they feel like it's not a priority. They haven't said it. They haven't responded in that way, but I'm just saying that's how I feel. Because it shouldn't take this long for you to replace her can.
Right.
So I don't think they're considering it a priority.
All right. So I'd like to talk about some things that we could do to help move them along a little faster. Does anyone have any ideas regarding that?
Leonie Logan again. I think one of the things that we can do is try to do maybe one thing for this coming year for sanitation. It would be great if we could have sanitation representatives, if it's going to be Miss Cunningham as liaison and maybe somebody else from sanitation come to the meeting and let's talk about how we feel the kind of service that we are getting for this neighborhood and whether or not we feel that service is apropos and what they think their ideas are to help change it and give us some maybe a more comfortable feeling.
That sounds good, and it sounds very diplomatic, but I have to ask, has nothing like this been attempted in the past?
We've had Miss Cunningham, the liaison. She has been at different meetings, and that's really been it. She's a very nice person. She says what she says in the meetings, and that's it.
How does what she says in the meetings translate to action? Do you see whatever she's saying come to fruition, or is it just talk?
I guess there are some things that come to fruition, but I think a lot of it is talk because I just feel she's limited in what she can do in terms of moving sanitation along.
So she has limitations. Do we know who we can talk to that doesn't have those limitations?
Nope.
All right, I guess we'll just have to check with her then.
Yes.
Okay. So, I have to tell you that I've been to several meetings. I've heard a lot of talking about issues and about remedies. You kind of go round and round, and even these types of meetings where we kind of get together and we vent about certain things, we talk to each other, we talk about who we're going to talk to, and then we put in our little reports, and then we kind of just sit here and we wait for mostly nothing to happen. And the way that I view things and how to get things done is, I guess, a bit more direct. And I think that it would be beneficial for us to put something together for sanitation, but I wouldn't call it an event. I would call it more like a protest, I suppose. And, I feel like that's the kind of thing that we should be doing more often when it comes to the issues that we have, generally speaking. I think that we have to be more hands-on with what we attempt to do. I think that it makes sense to try to talk about things and try to find a way to address things in a diplomatic way. And I think that there should be a reasonable time to have those things addressed. But I think that when it becomes clear that nothing is being done, then we have to take things to another level. And we have to sort of give the powers that be cause to take our issues seriously and not just to brush them over, because that is what I think is the difference between how other communities are prioritized over others. The lengths that we're prepared to go to address our issues or to make sure that they get fixed. I know that we hold a lot of like fundraisers and events throughout the year. We attend certain things, and I feel like our time could be better spent in a more proactive way. I would say that for every, I don't know, 5 or 10 events that, people might go to try to show some support for something, even one example of strength for the community would go a lot further. What do you guys think about that?
This is Lily of
Specifically, are you suggesting?
Well, I think that for all the people that, let's say, would attend an event, I don't know how many people on average attend events. I see a hand up. I'm going to get you in just 1 minute. But let's just say, for argument's sake, I don't know, 30, 40 people show up to an event on average. I think that 30, 40 people showing up to a designated location where we can have the most significant impact, as far as showing up to a particular office to have our voices heard on the issues that we have, would go much further than going to one of those events, something like that. I see we have a hand raised.
Yes, this is Lily of Heron Robinson.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
when you mention about going to events, I don't see the sanitation committee going to any events at all. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what you really mean by that. Because
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
because I haven't had to go attend any event while I've been on the sanitation committee. So I want you to explain that.
Okay. What I'm referring to are events in general. I'm not speaking specifically regarding any particular committee. I just know that there are events, like there were a few of them this past summer that I heard about during the meeting last week, that were held and people attended. I'm just speaking generally. Um, I've just joined, the community board recently, and then we went on the summer recess. So I'm not very knowledgeable on how many events there were. I just know that they have had them. And I just have attended meetings in the past. I haven't been on the board, within the years that I've been here, but I've just gotten an impression on how things tend to work, generally speaking. And I know what I haven't seen, I haven't been privileged to see any direct approaches to making sure that our voices are heard. I'm not sure if that answered your question.
Yes, you did, but what I'm wondering is when you say about attending these meetings, if they're not officials from, say, the sanitation committee or whatever committees we're on, how are you going to get any type of response?
Well, for example, and this is just something off the top of my head, it really doesn't take a lot to get someone's attention. For example, we could reach out to, Miss Cunningham and tell her where we're at and what exactly we are considering doing in the near future if we're not getting the results that we should have in this community, and give her an opportunity to respond. And if we're not seeing any good faith efforts to getting these things addressed, then we'll let her know, listen, we're going to be showing up to the sanitation office located in wherever they're located in the community. We'll take one at a time, and then we'll go there and we will demand to speak to whoever's there to address the issue.
Sounds good.
So, any thoughts? Well, I think that I'm hoping anyway, that I'm making it very clear that, the kind of person that I am and how I would go about addressing things, as I was saying, is just more direct. And I think that my observations, living in this community my entire life, seeing who gets attention versus who doesn't, are the people that are willing to get up and put themselves in a place where it makes other people take notice. And sometimes having meetings and having someone come out to listen to what we have to say is more of a diversionary tactic that is used just to sort of have some sort of control over us. And I think that should stop.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Also, you have to realize that a lot of the agencies, when it comes to sanitation, DEP, stuff like that, are governed They have rules and regulations that are set in place by the elected officials.
Yes.
That also, you have to also look into that as well, because they can only do what the law allows them to do,
That's
especially
true.
these abandoned vehicles. There's a law that's set in place. If the vehicle is tagged to be removed and they move it an inch, the process has to start all over again.
Hmm.
And all of this was approved by the elected officials. Stuff like that is the reason why a lot of things can't get done.
So then the question becomes, well, there's a couple questions. Who is it that elected these officials?
The people,
The people in the community?
yes, in the communities they live in.
Right.
You might have voted for some of them.
Well, that's true, and the thing is, you don't know exactly what you've got until you can see what you've got. And, the problem is that we as a people can be quite lazy when it comes to evaluating things. And we kind of just go with what is easy. And what do you get? You get the kind of officials that allow something to be moved an inch and for it to stay there. So what I would propose is to take it from one door to the next, one by one at a time. We start with sanitation. We raise a couple eyebrows. We get some attention. We end up speaking to the next person that we need to talk to, and so on and so forth until things get addressed. Our issue is, in my opinion, that we have lacked the resolve to follow through when it comes to the little things. And if you can't count on them to do the little things, they are not going to care about the big things. So I think that it is time for us to take control of the people that are supposed to be taking care of us. And I think, majority think that they have the power over us, and that is not the case.
Question, Mr. Hill, do you need a permit to take these 30 people, 30 of us, to one of these offices to protest? Do you need a permit for that? Or we just go, 30 of us, and we just go to the building? How does that work?
You do not need a permit to protest anywhere.
Okay.
It is, as long as it's a peaceful protest, you can gather and you can protest, and there is no permit necessary.
Okay, in front of any building?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you intend to mobilize? We don't have many people say, are you going to canvass the neighborhood? Are you going to put up posters or something? How are you going to mobilize the people? Because if it's just us, right now we don't even have 30 people, 10 people. So how would you get those? Are you going to go out and really put up an effort to have people be mobilized and really get interested in seeing what sanitation is not doing? Because as you said, many of us are lazy. Many of us are really tired of protesting in our own way and not getting results. And of course, from our elected officials, who, where I come from, they kind of book a doll and mama guy. Okay? They say they're going to do something and they do a bait and switch. Okay? So who do you trust? And that's across all government, to be quite honest. So how are we going to get people? Some of us lazy, some of us just tired and disgusted. How are you going to get us? What do you have to mobilize us to get that push to go forward?
Well, what I have is a new innovative way to address the issues. I think a way that people haven't had the luxury to participate in a very long time. I think that people are interested and ready to do these things, but a lot of people don't know that they have the ability to do them without fear of retaliation or incarceration. I mean, a lot of people think that you might need a permit to protest, for example, and you don't. What I would do is, and this is going to require a bit of education and a bit of work And it would require to speak to people that are directly impacted by these types of issues. And, the beauty of this is you don't need 100 people to get this done. You don't even need 50. All you need is enough for it to cause some sort of attention to be brought to the issue. And if you had 20 people, causing delays or causing a disruption in even the sanitation process for a few hours or something to that effect, and you had the media, involved and had them, there to bring more attention to the situation, other people will eventually see that there are people out there doing something. And then that becomes our way to say, listen, things are ready to change. And are you ready to help the change happen? And it is going to take other people to get involved. But I think once people see that something is actually happening finally, there will be enough people that are interested to see how far it's going to go. That's just my opinion.
It is. How are you going to do that? I agree with you, what you just said. What do you have to make us see that we want to go? That what do you have to energize us? I hear what you're saying. I completely agree with you. What is your plan to get us moving?
Well, I think as we stand as the community board, that even all of us here on this board would be enough to get this started. I think that if we all, I don't want to criticize the meetings that we have, you know. Um, I think that, let me see how to put this. I think that even if all of us, just the people here on this board, were able to gather even 5 people, just 5 people, to come with us to go and show that we have numbers, we have support, that would be enough. That would be enough to get the ball rolling. And I think that once you see people see the ball starting to roll and the ball starting to develop momentum, it's going to have a domino effect, and that is going to cause the energy. So it would definitely be uh, good for each of us to gather even 3 to 5 people that would be willing to address whatever the issues are, whether it's sanitation or any of the other committees that we have, and we go in force to wherever we need to go to get our problem recognized, rather than have these meetings.
This is Leonie Logan. Sounds good. I think one of the next steps we need is to also have, hopefully, we'll have more people showing up and attending the sanitation meeting. As you can see tonight, the first meeting is not a reflection of the what we normally have as the turnout for sanitation. It usually is a big sanitation meeting. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to have people coming to the meeting, hearing the different issues from everybody, and then we have those issues put together to make it, a good turnout to go protest, as it were, or to demand, or not even so much demand, but to start having them look at our needs and addressing them and actioning them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's reasonable, that this being the first one that we've had, that maybe people weren't as motivated to be a part of it. And I think that'll change. I think that's going to change once people understand that there's an opportunity for things to be done a little differently and maybe a bit more effective. And, I have to tell you that doing this uh, is something that I truly believe in. Um, I've been in law enforcement for 15 years, and I have seen a lot of things. I've seen what it's like for people to try to go through the diplomatic channels, as it were, to try to effectuate justice or to have issues resolved or even looked at. And a lot of times these mechanisms that are in place that are supposed to be there to protect us are there to just distract us. And I have personally experienced this myself on several occasions. And it wasn't until I stepped up and did something more than what was expected before I got the results that I needed. And I think if you look at history, if you look at a particular community, you know, the Jewish community, you know, these are the things that they have done in order to progress to where they've gotten. I mean, the idea that these people, you know, were able to come from Germany to come here and get reparations. And here we are sitting here ourselves and who deserve it before anyone. And we've never received anything like that is ridiculous. And it's only because we have not demanded it. You know, and we have so much power, you know, and it's such a shame that we do not see it and understand it. But if there's anything that I want to do, is I want to change that perspective and let everyone see just how strong we can be. And we can make the changes happen, and it can happen very quickly.
Sounds good.
Well, I don't know what more there is to say at this point. But what I would like is for everyone to really, you know, think about what I said and please pass on, you know, this information. And, you know, we have our meeting Wednesday, and, you know, this is definitely something I would like to expand on or to discuss further with other people to see how other people feel about it. And I really hope that everyone is ready to make the change.
Yes.
So, with that said, let's see. Is there anything anyone else would like to bring to the discussion? All right. I know the meeting is scheduled to go to 9, but I don't think that we have enough people here to justify being here for that long. If there isn't anything further, and you guys are okay with adjourning at this time, I think that would be suitable.
Leonie Logan, I think this was a good start for the meeting. And if we do have and get more people at the next meeting, then that would be great. You know, so we can at least start to think about and doing and actioning what we talked about here tonight. It would be good. I I have not been coming to the community board meeting in person. I come on virtual. So I will be on virtually at the meeting on Wednesday. And I think it is a good next step approach, as you said, to talk to some other people about it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, if nobody else has anything, Leonie Logan moves to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, is there a second to that? Is anyone else in favor
McCain
of?
Brown second the motion to adjourn the meeting at this time at 8:08.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for attending, and I definitely look forward to working with all of you. And this is exciting. Looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Thank you.
All right, everyone have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.